Hello and welcome back to The Load-In, a United Theater podcast with me, your host, Lee Metzger. We're back here talking about movies and TV, but specifically today, I want to talk about a television show that I started watching, stopped watching, and then started watching again. Today, we're going to be talking about Rings of Power. It's The Load-In. I want to talk to you about Lord of the Rings, or Rings of Power. So the first 3 episodes of the Rings of Power are out now. They all dropped on August 28th. I've seen the first episode, and I'll let you know how I felt about it after we discuss a few things. I've been a huge fan of The Lord of the Rings since I was a halfling size myself. One of my Ren Fair costumes is a Hobbit outfit. Notice I said one of my Ren Fair outfits. Let's just say I have 2. There is something about the sweeping scale of Peter Jackson's original trilogy that I just immediately fell in love with. And yes, I watched the movies before I read the books. And by read the books, I mean I read The Hobbit in a weekend, and then I read the first 3 chapters of The Fellowship before I wanted to throw it out the window because, mercy, I do not care about what cutlery sets the Sackville Bagginses want the most. The amount of clerical work The Fellowship of the Rings begins with is literally torturous. Forcing someone to read The Fellowship of the Rings should end up with them being tried at The Hague. Just recently, I started listening to The Fellowship of the Rings on tape, and at 5 hours in, they still haven't left the Shire. At hour 6, they finally meet Tom Bombadil. I'm losing my mind. Anyway, it's been a slog, but I've been wrapped because I'm so pumped about this new season of Rings of Power. Now, I've watched 4 episodes of the first season of the Rings of Power, and Lord of the Rings, was it bad? Well, not all of it. The scenery was gorgeous, the settings were fabulous, the costuming and hair and makeup were world class. Everything looked amazing. But the dialogue in this piece was shameful. Like, actually shameful. Full of shame. So I stopped watching. There's no drought of quality television to be had out there, friends. Okay? Since discontinuing watching The Rings of Power, I've enjoyed such shows as The Last of Us, both seasons of House of the Dragon, Andor, Severance, Shrinking, and Silo, and those are just shows that I've seen. There are plenty of other shows I haven't seen, like 2 seasons of The Bear, Succession, Better Call Saul, Barry, The Boys, Wednesday, True Detective Night Detective, or whatever it's called, and many more. So let's just say my cup runneth. But then these goofi over at Amazon decided to release an absolute monster of a trailer for Rings of Power Season 2. Like, it is legitimately got my blood pumping. Seriously, it is so epic and over the top, I lost my American mind. Go watch it. Seriously. Pause this right now. Go over, watch the trailer for Rings of Power Season 2, and try to keep your blood pressure low. I don't actually know what blood pressure should be at. Every time I go to the doctor, they just says it's all right. So I stopped really listening a while back. But I should probably do something about my health. Anyway, go over, watch it, come back. I'll still be here. You can pause this. I'll wait. Welcome back. That ruled, right? I cranked up my audio system all the way up. I forgot everything about the first season, about how bad the dialogue was, about how wooden it was, about how it made dialogue from Star Wars look like it was straight out of a David Mamet play.
I'll try spinning. That's a good trick.
And I did what I promised I'd never do. I decided to finish the first season of Rings of Power because I'm a fool. I went back, and the first episode I watched was episode 5. This is what I was greeted with.
Forgive me for not sending word to you sooner. Been a trying week.
Why didn't he stop this?
He's loyal to her, rightly or
Wrongly.
There are many who feel as you do. Not enough to sway him yet, but give him the right push.
It must be you. He will listen to you.
When I speak, his ears close up.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. Dialogue like this is all over this piece. And I was folly to expect different. I did what my parents always taught me to do. When things got tough, I bailed. I bailed so hard. Now, I can handle when dialogue is bad, okay? Like, if you went to my house and you pulled up all the movies I own on Prime, you'll see movies like Air Bud, Air Bud Golden Receiver, Air Bud World Pup, Air Bud 7th Inning Fetch, Air Bud Spikes Back, and the entire Fast and the Furious franchise, which I won't name here. Okay, I will. The Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious, Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6, Furious 7, The Fate of the Furious, F9, The Fast Saga, I want to say, and FX, Fast X, something like that. Listen, I've got them all. I'm no stranger to bad dialogue. That's not the problem. See, the Fast franchise works because it's earnest and it understands what it is. When Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson flexes out of a cast and says something along the lines of, "Daddy's got to go to work," it fits together in my mind like two bicep-shaped puzzle pieces. Now, juxtapose that with this scene from Rings of Power.
I did not come to Khazad-dûm for friendship, but ambition. I came for Mithril.
Why?
Without it, my kind must either abandon these shores by spring or perish.
Perish? Perish how?
Our immortal souls will dwindle into nothing, slowly diminishing, until we are but shadows, swept away by the tides of time, forever.
What the hell is even that?
If you tell somebody, hey, my entire people and lineage, the entire future of my civilization is about to die, and your friend says, "Oh my God, like that's awful. I'm like, what's going on? What's happening?" And you basically respond by saying, "Well, have you seen the end of Infinity War? Yeah, we're going to kind of turn to dust." That doesn't do it for me. That's bad writing. And what I've found so far is that writing is not present, at least in the first episode of Rings of Power Season 2. Granted, I've only seen one episode, and I'm doing that on purpose because I have a nasty tendency to binge watch shows. Kevin Can F Himself. By the way, if you haven't seen Kevin Can F Himself, go watch it. It's awesome. Anyway, I'm only watching one episode a week, and I'm tentatively optimistic. Now, you could say, what the hell are you talking about, Lee? I've seen every single review online say that this show sucks so bad that you can sell it at a vacuum store. And I'd say, hey, that's fair. I'm just one guy with a podcast he keeps forgetting to record. So take it with a grain of salt. But tentatively, I'm willing to say I'm very excited for this season, and I can't wait to watch it. Even if the dialogue is only marginally better, I would take it, because everything else about the show I like. It is beautiful to look at. I like the setting. I like the scenes. I like the makeup. I love the costuming. I like the hair. You could say that the actors might be doing a bit much, but whatever. That's fine. It's high fantasy. Like, it's going to be goofy. You kind of have to suspend your disbelief a little bit. But, like, we're already here. We're already watching Lord of the Rings. So, like, get over it. And the scope of this show reminds me a lot of the Peter Jackson films, which I absolutely adored. Listen, I like helicopter shots of people walking through fields. Don't at me. And I'm just glad that the lessons we all learned from the Hobbit trilogy, you can see them being shown here in Rings of Power. We don't have any orcs that are just tennis balls on the end of a broom handle, which is a welcome change. All in all, I'm really looking forward to this season. It looks like there's going to be some big battles and some really cinematic moments, and Galadriel rushing through some forest on a horse or something. But as long as the dialogue doesn't sound like this.
For centuries they have swept across crag and crevice, washing away the last remnants of our enemy, like a spring rain over the bones of a dead animal.
I think we're in a good spot. So make sure you tune in next week when I review Air Bud for a half hour straight. You're listening to the load in, or you just have been. Now it's over. So this is the part of the show where I forget to look up a review and read it on the air So let me see what we got here. So today we have a review from Paris NCT. Sometimes I wonder if these names are auto-generated. Paris NCT says, Gara LaMarche review. I really enjoyed listening to Gara tell us about his StoryCorps work. I can't wait to see the show this Friday at United. Great job, Lee. Lee is me, and that show was over a month ago. But if you want your review read aloud here on The Load-In, leave it on Apple Podcasts and give us as many stars as you think we deserve. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. If you're interested, you can watch all of these podcasts video feed on YouTube and see exactly how many hats I own. This has been The Load-In. I'm Lee Metzger. Thanks so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Thanks for tuning in to the United Theater Podcast Network. If you enjoyed this episode, we encourage you to subscribe to our show so you never miss an episode. And if you could take a moment to leave a review, we'd greatly appreciate it. Your feedback helps us create content that you love. So hit that subscribe button and leave us a review, and we'll see you on the next episode.